The first 5 verses of chapter 2 are full of new information. As I've mentioned, these first 5 verses are Isaiah's original introduction to his entire book. Chapter 1 was actually written decades later and was inserted at the beginning of his book. The first verse serves as the title of his book. The word that Isaiah, the son of Amoz, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. Now, we don't know much about Isaiah's father, Amoz, but Jewish legend has it that he was a brother to King Amaziah. And if that's true, it would explain how Isaiah knew so much about Jewish politics and poetry, because as the king's nephew, he would have been raised in the court and would have been highly educated. In this first verse, Isaiah says that he saw all that follows. In Hebrew, the word saw carries a connotation of seeing something in vision, of being shown something by heavenly power. Then he says that the things he saw concerned Judah and Jerusalem. Well, that seems simple enough until we realize that he's using the word Judah in a larger way. In the very first verse of Isaiah, quoted in the Book of Mormon, it says, "Hearken and hear this, O house of Jacob, who are called by the name of Israel, and are come forth out of the waters of Judah, or out of the waters of baptism." Again, in the very first verse quoted in the Book of Mormon from Isaiah, we learn that the waters of Judah really means the waters of baptism. In other words, Judah are the people who are baptized. And as we will see, this refers to people in the last days. The second verse also has a larger meaning. "And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it." Well, this seems to mean that the Lord's house, a temple, will be established in the top of the mountains. But again, a larger meaning is also intended. Isaiah uses the word mountain as a metaphor for kingdom or nation. Other prophets did this too, including Jeremiah and Ezekiel, and Joseph Smith also used the word mountain as a metaphor for kingdom or nation. Likewise, Isaiah used the word hills to mean smaller countries. So, if the word mountain is a metaphor for kingdom or nation, and hills mean smaller countries, verse 2 might be phrased this way. "And it shall come to pass in the last days, when the nation of the Lord's house shall be established at the head of the nations, and shall be exalted above all lesser countries, and all nations shall flow unto it. Many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the nation of the Lord, to the temple of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem." With this understanding, we see that Isaiah was looking forward to a time when Zion, the New Jerusalem, would be established within the preeminent nation on earth. And clearly, this nation unto which all nations shall flow is the great Gentile nation of the last days, America. Even the Lord said that this nation would be mighty above all. Isaiah is referring to something that's still in the future. And at that time, the remnants of scattered Israel will stream to Zion, which will be on this, the American continent. And they'll go there to receive instruction and ordinances, as well as their ancient inheritances. This is all part of Isaiah's introduction to his work concerning the last days. For as he said, "In the last days the law shall go forth from Zion, and the word of the Lord shall go out from Jerusalem." Then he declares that this will be a time of rebuke and judgment upon the nations. In other words, this will be a time of terrible warfare. And as a result, many people will search for peace. And they'll beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. As these many wars rack the earth, people will have two choices: either repent and flee to Zion, or take up the sword against their neighbor. Again, everything in these first 5 verses were originally written as his introduction to everything else in his book. After this chapter, there are 64 more chapters of prophecies, all of which pertain in some way to the last days. Isaiah then concludes his introduction with a plea. "O house of Jacob, come ye, and let us walk in the light of the Lord. He's talking to us in the last days. Come and walk in the light of the Lord, or walk in darkness. Prepare for Zion, or prepare for battle. It's our choice. We are the children of the Lord's covenant. We have these prophecies and have been commanded to search them diligently. For, as we will see in the next few verses, the day of the Lord of hosts is coming soon. I'm Curtis Taylor with the Words of Isaiah.